A protagonist with the perfect blend of reincarnated memories and a new personality to cultivate. Let's talk about it. Hey there everybody, welcome back to Fantasy Inc. My name is Wyeth, and today we are talking about Soul of the Warrior, Child Soldier by the author Kyfe. This one was a very interesting read that I was happy to pick up recently, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. First off, we can just acknowledge the title, at least the second aspect of it, Child Soldier. Very accurate for what this book entails, and still very jarring to first world modern sensibilities, where child soldiers aren't really acceptable, at least by Geneva's standards. Thankfully, or unthankfully, depending on the way you look at it, this is a different world, and in this world it is much more common to levy soldiers when needed, no matter what their age may be. But hey, this is a different world and they just have different social norms, so who are we to judge? Enough about me ranting on philosophy and what is right or what is mainly wrong about this new world. Let's talk about the actual book itself, which was very entertaining. Our main character is named Reivyn, spelled like that. I know, I was as surprised as you are since I did the audio. When it comes to this main character, he is semi-reincarnated. This is an interesting way for me to say he has some memories, some bleed through from a previous life where he was a military man himself with a family and a dark past to some degree, at least how it ended, that we as readers get snippets of as the book goes on. Now, with that said, he is not fully reincarnated. He is born into this new world. We get to see his young adult years, and even though he has this memories, giving him a leg up against other children on morals or lessons learned through life experience, he still is basically learning how this world works as a first person. So yes, we're not jumping into a series where they have complete memories from the start, and that is a bit refreshing in my opinion, because you get the best of both worlds. When it comes to the world building, it's similar to your average fantasy. You have small medieval towns with some luxuries here and there depending on your wealth, different magical zones with more powerful people here, less powerful people there. That is before his 10th birthday, at least 13 in our years. I do appreciate the author giving a different calendar system for this world, where he is levied into the local militia by his lord, the count of his region. I believe it was a count, and they have a task to complete. And these days, at least on this world, that is pretty normal, where you just have to accept your lord's rule and you just have to show up for conscription. And they picked children for the reason of being able to bump up their class rather than degrading adult classes to something less desirable like peasant levy. So that is the reason behind it, and our main man Reivyn has the ability to utilize his past experience, the training he's done for the last 10 years with his father and his bloodline, to make a name for himself in this new book. Again, a fantastic book, and now it's time to go ahead and jump into the pro-con pro of why you should or should not pick up this series specifically. When it comes to the first pro, I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to acknowledge it again. Having a blend between reincarnated memories and having a new character grow and develop is fantastic in my opinion, and a big reason to pick this one up because it definitely sets it apart from other isekai related reincarnated like series out there. So definitely one for the record books. When it comes to the con I picked out for this series, I don't know if it's on purpose or on accident, but the author, at least at the start, blended third-person reading with first-person inner monologues quite often, and it was a bit jarring because at the end of the day I had to think, you know, why is Reivyn saying I when all the other times it's been he does this or he thought that? So I think it may have been a mix-up, or maybe it's just going over my head and I'm misunderstanding the context of it. Whether it's a blend on purpose, who's to say? But it's just something I did notice. The second and last pro I'll touch on is definitely going to be the world building here. The author, Kyfe, put a lot of effort into figuring out how this world was set up, whether that be a very intuitive magic system / stat sheet, the backstory of Reivyn's family, and Reivyn's bloodline himself and the local powers as well as the world powers that are around. We get interludes into other characters that definitely open our eyes to what is going on more politically, or at least what happened in the past, so historical events. So yeah, the world building here was phenomenal. They are in a very low magic zone starting out the journey, but as Reivyn gets more powerful and the series progresses, I imagine that is not long for this road. When it comes to Soul of the Warrior as a series, this was a phenomenal first book to start out on. I believe it came out earlier this summer, at least when it comes to audio. I'm looking forward to when book 2 drops, so I'll be making announcements when that does happen, and most likely reading it on the release date, because I did enjoy this one so dang much. Now we're going to go ahead and jump to the deep dive, so once you read it, or if you already have, feel free to join me as I talk about the spoilers, what I expect for the future of the series, and what I really did like specifically about book 1. Unsurprisingly, our main character in this story happens to be a not-so-long lost prince, or son of a princess. I don't know, what's the term there if they never accept the throne? If we forgo that lack of title there, he still comes from a very high-level magic zone's royal family, and that means that he has the bloodline as well as the Akashic records. Still not exactly sure how the Akashic record plays into things, whether that is due to his past life experience or something that he gets through his bloodline. I'll go ahead and just forego asking about that right now. But yes, our main character does have some advantages, at least when it comes to his nobility status. Not specifically in the forefront of the series, but I imagine as the series progresses. This brings me to the fact that this whole low-level magic zone that he's been living in for the past few years is basically his playground, where his family is ensuring that he's able to grow more powerful. Yes, his parents spun the excuse that they wanted to get away from the potential traitor that did the dungeon overflow in their old country, but at the end of the day, it seems that they just want to give their kids a leg up and a normal childhood, unless they're able to utilize their beginning OP power as it comes along. And Reivyn and his sisters are no slouches. At least Reivyn is. His sisters seem that they want to just play and listen to stories most of the time. So yes, if we were to ignore the fact that he was conscripted, yet his parents were keeping an eye on him the whole time as an adventuring group, there is something to be said there. Now that Reivyn knows the full story, as well as we, the audience, have a better idea of what his parents' past are and what Reivyn's nobility status is, it's going to be quite entertaining in book 2 once we get to that school arc. Whereas, you know, he is going to be viewed by the other students as this country bumpkin at the bottom of the barrel, with all of them being unaware that he is of a higher nobility status than probably the king of this entire land. So I imagine that is going to be fairly entertaining now that his friend or ally Mel is going to try to mooch off his status. I'm looking forward to that becoming a boiling point, with her sharing so many of his secrets to her family. That is going to be an interesting rift that occurs within that friendship. I love some good drama, and that is definitely going to be a key factor there. I'm hoping that the romance aspect of it does not approach this book series at all, at least while he's still, you know, so young. I think it was getting a little odd at the after-battle feast/dance where the two young noble ladies were kind of vying for Reivyn's attention, and he's supposed to be a 10-year-old. Yes, it wasn't really romantic, they just want to attach him to the family, but that's kind of making future plans on marriages. Yes, different world, completely understandable, but still a little odd for our sensibilities as readers, so we will find out as the story progresses. Overall, I very much did enjoy the series. I think it's super cool that we got a little bit of a picture into the gods of this land when Reivyn fell into that vat and was able to interact with two different kinds of systems, how they war on this planet, but we find out that the gods in other planes are actually quite friendly with each other. I think that was a very interesting bit of lore that was dropped in there. Really looking forward to book 2 as Reivyn opens up his options as a magic caster, and we're getting able to see ideally his path to that champion class, if it still is the best option for him, because he is racking up life experience like nobody else out there. So yes, we'll find out if that still is the best tier 3 class for him. Didn't love his tier 2 class, but still kind of confused on how the whole thing works, to be quite candid. So hopefully in book 2, I can start picking up the nuances of how those class systems work. All in all, loved this series. Really looking forward to book 2. I want to get y'all's opinions on it in the comments below. What did you think overall? Is this great compared to other LitRPGs out there, or kind of average? In my opinion, it's above average, definitely. Going to be in the A tier of my personal list, which should be coming out pretty soon, but I digress from there. With all that information, I do appreciate everyone watching this video. Thank you so much for checking my channel out and hearing my recommendations, and I do hope that everyone continues to keep reading.